Welcome back to the Zen Curious Podcast and welcome to Season 2. I'm Kiera Hanselman and I am so excited to kick off 2025 with you with a really special episode. As we step into this new year, we're going to be diving deep into themes of emotional awareness, resilience, and connection with the self, starting with a conversation that is very close to my heart. Today, Lauren and I are joined by my 11-year-old son, Maximus, and we're going to explore the incredible wisdom of kids when it comes to processing big feelings. Maximus has always amazed me with his emotional intelligence, and in this episode, he shares his unique approach to managing emotions, taking ownership of his experiences, and finding balance. It's a powerful reminder that we all have something to learn when we approach life with curiosity. This season, we're bringing you even more inspiring conversations and practical tools to help you live your fullest life. So let's start the year off right by learning how to embrace our feelings with grace and courage. The journey begins now.
On record.
Do you wanna say anything to get loosened up?
Banana, 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 banana.
So welcome back and thank you so much for joining us today. I know as somebody who was growing up and asking really deep questions about why am I here? What does it mean to be human on this planet? Like, is it okay to do things that I wanted to express as a child when I was told to look pretty and don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about, or told to act and be a certain way? This is when all of these seeds of like my societal conditioning and my parents and their trauma and story started to really influence my world. And so I'm super excited that we've got Max here today with us, who is 11 years of age and going through his own process of peace. And so, Kiera, before we dive into Max and what his experience has been like on the 11 years he's been in this planet, tell us a little bit about your relationship with him and why you thought he'd be a good candidate to have on our show.
Yes, I would love to. So Maximus is my baby. He's my littlest one, that isn't so little anymore. And Maximus is a really emotionally intelligent kid. He has always asked a lot of great questions. He isn't afraid to try new things. And so I thought it would be really helpful for our listeners, not just because getting a kid's perspective is cool, but kind of like you said, like for us, a lot of the stories that we have in our life developed when we were about this age that Maximus is. Young, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, but getting an opportunity to hear from his perspective, what that looks like and how that starts when we start to develop those things that tell us we have to be a certain way or we have to do a certain thing. Getting to hear it straight from his mouth and straight from his experience, because he shares so freely, I thought would be really helpful.
Yeah. And so for those of us who don't understand emotional intelligence, it's like actually having the capability of feeling really big feelings, which I heard at times, maybe sometimes feelings are really big, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you handle something like that?
So mostly I just let my body and let my emotions like take over in that moment of time. Like say like I got a bad grade, I take a minute of myself and I let my emotions do what it wants to do. And then I take back over and then I just like shrug it off because I know like I can do better, and it's just like something like it's my fault that I didn't do that good, and I can just do it again better.
I love that you have like radical responsibility for what's showing up in your life. You're like, I'm going to take ownership and I know I'm freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that from?
I think over time I just like learned how to like figure that out of my body and just like be able to control it and know what's happening. So I can let like parts, I can let like percentages, like 5%, 10%, 20%, etc. Yeah, I can just do that stuff.
Yeah.
And depending on how bad the situation is, or like how happy, how excited, how sad, how angry, I can let out each part. And it doesn't have to be in public. It can be like sometimes like in my room. Like I could just like have a bad day and I just like put on a smile and I just work through it, and then when I get to the end of the day, I let it all out.
I love that you give yourself permission to come back and visit it, because so many of us, and I'm sure you've had an experience like this, Kiera, is like we stuff and we stuff and we stuff and we don't come back to address those things. And so tell me a little bit about what it is like for you.
I wanted to ask you, you said you let yourself feel the emotion and then you move on. What is that experience like? Or even, you could even talk about how once you get to your room or wherever the safe place is to let it out, like what does that look like? What does that feel like?
It's mostly my pillow. Because like sometimes, even though I'm angry, I could let out a couple tears. Because like I'm so angry that my body just like needs to add a new emotion. But like for the other question,
like feeling it in your body, like
it's like I can like control it and bring it into one area, and then I can like cut it off and let that happen, and then I store the other part and it like regenerates, I guess.
So you have this like visualization that happens with the emotion.
Like it's like inside out. Like you have anger, fear, disgust, joy, and sadness. Like I can like cut off part of them, and I can like add them all together at the same time. Like I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad, and I'm disgusted and feared at the same time. Like football. I play football and I'm happy that I'm playing football. I'm scared I'm gonna get knocked out all the time because these kids are like reckless. I'm disgusted because it's a bunch of sweaty people on me.
I love it.
And I'm angry when I get a penalty. Like when I do something and I get a penalty for it, I get angry. Or if somebody does something to me and they don't get a penalty for it, I get mad. And then I pretty much like go after them the whole game. Yeah. So I mostly let my anger take over when I'm playing football. Because it's like
an appropriate place for that.
Yeah. It's like a place where the adrenaline can rush freely. But not too much adrenaline because that's like bad. Because, it's just bad.
What happens if you get too much adrenaline?
I've heard that like if you get too much adrenaline in your body, it's like not you. It's like something else that has been created, and it's like really dangerous.
Like the Hulk?
Kinda.
All right. So what I'm hearing is like you still have your mind about you. You're not letting the emotion completely lead the way. You're like, oh, I can observe that I'm having all these feelings so that I can come back to being Max, and I can still have the experience of all the feelings.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so you talked a little bit about like feeling it in your body. How do you know when you feel it in your body? Because a lot of people don't, like, that's a really aware thing to have a skill around.
It's just really like me feeling what I want, what my body wants me to feel. Like, if like you yell at me for not doing the kitty litter.
Specific.
I was going to ask for an example. You read my mind. This is perfect.
The kitty litter, it's like, dang, I just want to do something.
And where do you feel that when you get that emotion, when it comes into your body?
It's usually like because I feel like a lot of people, they just like anger, like your toes, they just like cramp up and you just want to like squeeze them. That's like what happens to me. Yeah. But it's not always my toes. It's like sometimes like my legs.
Yeah.
Or my butt when like you like clench. But that's like only when I'm like really mad.
Well, at least we know your levels of anger rise.
Rise up your body
parts.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody who had a lot of social anxiety when I was a kid, like I felt a lot around like not belonging, and part of that was because I wasn't allowed to have social circles a lot of the time. And so even as an adult now, sometimes when I'm around new people or I'm in big groups, I'll start to feel like a collapse in my chest, right? Like I'll want to make myself really small in situations. Do you have anything like outside of the anger emotion, which rises from your toes all the way to your bum?
Yeah.
Tell me about how some of the other emotions that might show up in your body.
I kind of like have social anxiety too, but it's not much. It's just like a part. Like if I'm like hanging out with my friends and I say something weird, I just like, they all look at me like I just like, ooh, why did I say that? It's like embarrassed. It's like an embarrassed feeling.
Yeah. And how does your body respond to that?
It's not really my body. It's like not like anything physical. It's like I'm thinking in my brain like, why did I say that? I'm so weird. Yeah. Like
So you start overthinking a little bit, like, oh gosh, what happened here? Which is also a safety mechanism, right? Because you want to almost think your way out of it.
Yeah.
Does it go away quickly, or do you keep asking yourself, why did I say that for a long time?
It goes away quickly, but yeah, it goes away quickly. Yeah. I don't really have anything else.
You move on from it, like
Yeah. Well, again, I think it's like from what I'm hearing is you have an awareness, like, oh gosh, I'm doing that thing again where I'm making myself wrong for being fun.
Yeah.
And just being myself. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with your parents.
It's a great relationship because they're not spoiled, but they like, if I do goals and I complete the goals, they reward me sometimes. And like, I made it to the state qualification on a tropical speech, right? Yeah,
Tropicana speech.
Tropicana speech, and it was like all about like rewards that your parents give you for completed chores around the house, getting good grades. Yeah. I can't really remember it, but like that's
about our relationship, like your relationship with me and Daddy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not spoiling. They're hard on us, but like not too hard. They're like a good hard. But like they can like sometimes like get angry at each other and like get stressed out. But that's like parenting stuff. Like that's like adult stuff. Yeah. And that just like happens with a lot of people. Yeah. Happens with like us. Like I get angry at little kids sometimes because they like bother me.
Well, I think that's a good point. Like I know that you have struggled with some anxiety, and a lot of that started or came up when we've been in kind of tough seasons. When you see maybe Dad and I arguing more, or and I know that a lot of that came from that. But I think that also, and I'd like for you to say, well, you know what you think, but once we acknowledged kind of how that was affecting you, we tried to give you an opportunity to have space to talk about it, and you want to say anything about that?
I don't really. I think I know where it started at. So I'm gonna start there, and then I'm gonna build up on like how it's progressed.
Please.
So I was hanging out with the boys, with my friends, and we got in the hot tub, and then Bella came down and got us.
Bella's your sister, right?
Yeah, Bella is my sister.
Okay.
She got me, and we walked up to the house, and then we had that talk about her going to college, and then I got really emotional. And when I got to bed, I looked through the crack of my door, and I saw that, and I was just like, my brain just like, it like made my body say, I don't want you guys to die. And then like, that's what like triggered. It wasn't like scared anxiety. It was like, well, it was a scared anxiety. It was like a anxiety. I don't know what I'm going to be doing when you guys are gone, like when you guys leave.
So you started having a lot of fear about, like, when you thought about Bella leaving to go to college, it started making you think, like,
what about mom and dad leaving? Like, yeah. And that built up. It got really bad that night. I couldn't sleep. I stayed up till like 4 a.m. and I threw up a couple times.
Yeah, you had a full-blown panic attack.
Like multiple panic attacks. Like, I'm pretty sure it was like 4 or 3.
So
and they were all in like
that is a really scary thing to happen.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, do you have ways to help center you and kind of calm you down when you're experiencing that now?
Yeah, sometimes like I don't really get anxiety anymore. It's like calmed down like so much, cause like I just like hit a point where like I don't have to worry about this anymore. Cause you guys talked to me about being in the present moment, and I just like kept on thinking about that every time I had anxiety, and it just like calmed down. I get it every once in a while, but every time I do get it, I like play a game, take a deep breath, like, and then I keep breathing in, like, and then I keep breathing in. So it's like you gotta take the rest of your breath that you're sucking in, and just like you try to get the most of it and let it all out.
And when you let it out, are you letting out the fear and the thoughts too?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. They say, like, if you breathe consciously for 30 seconds or more, you can totally eliminate anxiety. So
Wow.
you're doing a breathing technique you probably didn't even know existed, right?
No, I didn't probably.
And so a lot of times what happens is in anxiety, we breathe here in our chest. We never make it into our belly. So by sipping in all of that air, where is it going? All the way into our belly, right? We're filling ourselves up. And so, like you said, with presence, with oxygen, with expansion and possibilities. And then when we're letting go of everything that doesn't serve us. And so that's an amazing technique that you're doing without even knowing that you're doing it.
Yeah, he actually, I was like stressed out one night, and he was like, Mom, I want to teach you this trick that I do. And I was like, thank you.
What other tricks you got up your sleeve?
For more serious anxiety, because like it happens around this age, like from 10, 11, 12 to 13, 14 maybe.
Yeah.
Like you get anxiety attacks, panic attacks. So like whenever I get panic attacks, like I know panic attacks, it's like not as bad as it could be with anxiety. It's just like me being scared of something, but it's not for long. It's like 3 minutes, 2 minutes. And when I do that, I just like, I lay down on the floor. I put my body straight, and I just like do this. I lift my arm up, and then I lift it down, and then I do the other one. I lift it down. I lift my legs up, do my fingers, and it just like goes away.
Yeah. Another way to bring you back into your body, into presence, right? And to shift the energy. Plus, I love that you're laying on the ground. For me, when I'm in like my most sad moments, when I grieve a lot, I go outside and lay in the grass, because it's like Mother Earth is holding me. And it feels so warm and cozy, like I can just like dissolve into the earth and it would be okay. Yeah. It's nice. It feels like somebody's holding you. Tell me a little bit about, I know we said, you know, there's some big feelings that come up as you're growing up and you're experiencing them. How do you get to talk to your mom and dad about some of those feelings that happen?
For me, I don't know if it's about for like any other kids my age, but it usually happens around like bedtime, like when I go to bed for school. It doesn't usually happen on the weekends, because I'm like always distracted on the weekend, because I'm always doing something with friends or I'm playing video games. But it like usually kicks in the most around 9:25.
Oh, okay.
Like exactly 9:25, because I remember it was like 9:24 one day, and then like a minute later I just got like boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for another breathing technique that I do for that, like the major stuff, I take a shower. And I let like the water like run all over me. Like I curl up in a ball like this.
Yeah.
Just let the water like take over.
Yeah.
Just like cools me off.
What does that feel like when you're doing that?
I don't really know because I usually fall asleep, but...
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the water is like really cleansing and pure. And
yeah, I usually put it on the hottest mode. So like that way like, and like I also like sometimes don't put on the air thing, like the air vent that sucks up all the moist air.
Yeah.
I know that y'all tell me to do that, but
You want to build up the steam in there.
yeah, so like it's like steam therapy. It's like
Ooh.
even if the water's getting colder, like the steam is still like heating me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it has anything to do with like feeling like you're back in the womb? Do you know what that means?
No, not really.
So like the womb when you're a baby in your mom's belly? Because a lot of times we're like this, right? All crunched up like a little ball.
I did this.
Yeah.
And I just like, put my head between my
And then
knees.
we're in the water, kind of like in your mom's belly, because you got all the juices hanging out in there, right? And so for me, it's super comforting like that, similar to laying on the ground, but I like to get into my little, what's called the fetus position sometimes and be in the water so that I can be comforted to like remember who I am. I'm magical. I grew inside of a person's belly. Jeez, right?
Crazy,
Yeah.
right?
I swam in water for 9 months before I started breathing air. How crazy is that?
Pretty crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're magical creatures. We got to remember that sometimes.
We're like unicorns.
We are. They just haven't seen my horn yet. Yeah. And so, you talked a little bit about safe places, like when you go to your room. How did you get to find those spaces?
It's not really I found them. It's like I know they're like a trusted place and I know I can like be safe there. It's not like I don't feel safe in every other room, but it's just like I feel like the most safe because it has like everything about me in the room. Like you can like if you saw my room and you didn't even know me, you would be like immediately, he plays football because I have an entire mural on my wall about a football field. He plays football. He loves sports. He loves video games. And he's... I don't know. That's really it.
Right. So it's your place.
Yeah,
that
it's
you
my
created for you. That's nice. Your parents help you do that?
They help me, like, move my room around, but, like... Yeah, they help me.
That must feel real nice, doesn't it?
Yep.
You didn't have to like paint your walls green and go by what they said you had to do. You had some say in your creative output.
My back is itchy.
Yeah. It's probably from all that football throwing you were doing earlier.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm curious, what does it mean for you to have peace?
Peace, it's like not really a thing. It's like what everybody wants, because there's a lot of grief in the world. Everybody just wants like a world where like you can have peace. And I sometimes take advantage of my Xbox and like whenever like I'm stressed out on Friday, Sunday, Saturday, sometimes Monday, because we have schools, but sometimes we have day offs. And I just like take advantage and I play them because it takes me to like a different place like if I'm like scared or upset, I can just like put my headset on, grab my controller, turn on my Xbox, and I can just like start playing, and like I don't really pay attention to what's happening. But that's not always a good thing, cause if you're doing something else when something important's happening, it could like get you in trouble. It could like affect you. And like that happened to me in elementary school sometimes. I used to play on my computer, and like after some notes or something, and I played on my computer, we probably went over something.
Yeah. So when going back to what peace is, what is it? What is peace? What does having peace mean to you, and how do you get there in moments when maybe you're not feeling peaceful?
I just I let my emotions take over. Like I let them be themselves while I can also be myself somewhere else. Like in my mind, I can go over to the side and I can like breathe and catch myself, and then I bring back all the emotions and I'm peaceful. And like sleeping's peaceful until I have to wake up. But like if it's past 8, I'm happy in the morning.
Yeah. You're pretty happy. You wake up pretty happy.
Yeah.
You're a happy guy.
So what I'm hearing is like peace is happiness. Peace is not being, I would say, like victim or terrorized by the other emotions. Right? So it's like feeling the fear and feeling your way through it, because on the other side is what I hear is like maybe some sort of peace, whether that's calmness or clarity or just not having to hang on to emotions that don't feel good in your body. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And so for the other 11-year-olds that are out there, or for the parents of 11-year-olds that are out there, how would you say your mom and your dad support you the best?
They support me by not always like directly helping me with homework, but they can like help me to bring it. Oh, this is an example of school.
Yeah.
Like with schoolwork, like if you don't complete it in class, I didn't complete something in class and I did it afterwards. So I went down to my dad's office and I worked on it with him. He helped me a bunch. And I got them all right. He didn't give me the answers. He just like helped me by like telling me what it means. And then I figured it out by myself. My mom and my dad, they don't help me. They help me, but they don't like give me the answers. And for like treating me, they treat me good. They don't do anything bad. They just like, they can get in arguments and stuff, but that it doesn't hurt me, but it like can like bring out a couple emotions, because like I sometimes get angry when y'all fight or argue, because like I don't want you guys to argue because it's annoying. I want to be completely honest. It's annoying as heck, because y'all just like go back and forth at each other, and I think it's dumb. You know,
It is dumb.
It's fine.
So if you were going to share, like, let's say there's other moms or dads that hear this podcast and they've got kids. If you were going to share one piece of advice to them, like if you were going to give me advice on how to help
Bella
love you better or support you better or Bella better, what would you say? What could you share with them that would be helpful for them to know?
I mean, it's not really my business to like help them parent, because like I'm not a parent yet, but like I would just like say like love your child no matter what, even though if they make the mistakes. You can like be upset at them, but you don't want to be like mad at them. You can be upset, you can be a little mad, but like not so mad that you have to, I don't know.
They push you away.
Yeah, and like hurt the relationship. Like, say if your kid gets 2 referrals. Not me.
This is just another person.
Like,
Yeah,
let's just say someone did get 2 referrals.
Yeah, totally not me. Just like, don't be mad at them. You can like discipline them by like taking away your video games or taking away your chargers so you can slowly watch the fear in their eyes as their electronic dies, which I'm gonna do. Or you can punish them by like taking away their things for the weekend.
So what happens if they get too mad at you when something bad happens? What happens then?
I feel like it would mean like.
What does that do to you as a kid?
It would hurt. It would like scar you. It wouldn't scar you permanently, but it would like hurt you for a while, and it would stop. And like even it would scar you permanently, but it has to be to a point where it's so bad that you can't like not take your mind off, because you're eventually gonna move on from it. You're gonna forgive. You're gonna forget. But that's another thing for parents. They need to forgive and forget. Well, not necessarily forget, but forget, because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't want to be stuck on that forever and think your child is a bad person because they did one thing wrong or a couple things wrong.
What about curiosity?
I think that curiosity is, like, a good thing for children to have. Like, you can be curious, but, like, it's, like, amazing to be curious, but you don't want to be so curious to the point where it can get you in trouble. Like, say, like, there's an abandoned house. Like, you have an abandoned house. Totally not listing me again. You have an abandoned house and you're so curious. You want to see what's inside. You walk inside and there's, like, people there. Again, totally not me. And you get in trouble for doing that.
Yeah. What about parents being curious with you? How does it support you or does it hurt you?
It supports, but that sounded really weird. It's like, it supports, but it kind of, sometimes like y'all are like always asking me like every time I come home from school, any cute girls, and you're dating somebody. It's like kind of annoying. It's like too curious, like that's school. It's not y'all. And then you can also just like be, I don't know.
What about if you got a referral or two and your parents asked you what happened versus making an assumption of you did something wrong?
Yeah. That's like another thing on curiosity, because you don't want to just assume. And I tell that to y'all sometimes. Like, you don't want to assume I did this on purpose. Like, when you assume I did something at school and I got a no note for it, you sometimes assume you did that wrong immediately. Like, you've been told so many times, but like sometimes that's not the case. Like, sometimes I just do it once time, and I get a no note or a referral or whatever that was. Totally not true. Again.
So so basically what you're saying is it's hurtful to you if we assume something without talking to you about it first and giving you an opportunity.
Because like a lot of people they can like just like assume, like parents, they assume their child is like bad for getting a referral or bad for getting expelled, but it could be it's a bad example, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person. They could just like
made a bad choice, maybe.
They could have made a bad choice because they were hurt by their parents, and they could have taken refuge by just like copying them, and they could have done something bad. And like, no offense to the parents, but like, it's like not their kid's fault because they're looking up to y'all and they're seeing what y'all do and they copy. Because I used to do that with Dad. Like, he used to use a telephone all the time. He used to work on computers. And now, like, I'm working on computers and stuff. I like the video game. I like the electronic works. And, like, not everything that that people my age assume is always bad. It could be good, but it could also be leaded to a bad thing. Like, if you get what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like to believe that everything's in neutral, right? Everything's got a neutral quality. What we do with it sometimes is good, and sometimes it's bad.
Yeah.
But really, we're just like football, neutral. Tackling people and concussions, bad. Touchdowns and cheerleaders, good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, tackling could be good too, depending if
you're
which
getting
team you're on.
tackled or
Yeah.
you're the tackler. Totally. And so, yeah. Is there anything else that you'd want to share with either kids that are having a hard time or parents whose kids are having a hard time to help them get through their challenges?
All I have to say is, like, talk it out. Another thing on assuming. You just don't want to assume what they did. Because, like, it could also hurt them because they just think that they're automatically a bad person because you assume this, even though that's not necessarily the case. It could be the case, but it's not always the case. It could be for, like, something that you did, but it's not really a penalty. Like, you're not doing anything wrong, but the teacher is just mean, or like,
Or maybe you don't
Having a bad
understand
day.
the rules.
oh yeah, you don't
or,
understand the rules. Like,
Or
moving
having
to
a
a
bad
new
day.
like moving to a new school. I had to go through that. I left all my friends at Raw, and I went to Florida High, and I had to make new friends. And some people just assumed, like, I'm like a cool kid because I came from Raw, but, like, I'm kind of weird. I'm, like, not weird, but, like, I'm, like, weird. I'm like a nerd because I'm, like, really cool, but, like, I'm also, like, always thinking, and I'm, like, always thinking about people, and I'm thinking about what they think about me. And that's also, like, a big factor on how I get social anxiety, like how we were talking about. Because I'm always thinking about, like, what if these people don't like me? What if all this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's
Can I ask you another question? Why is it important for people to like you?
I don't know. I feel like it's just, like, a thing that we all go through, kids my age and a little bit older, a little bit
adults.
younger.
And me, I'm
And
in my
adults,
40s.
Because it's just distracting because people could look at you like, but, like, they don't think bad at you. They're just doing that to make you feel self-conscious about
Like, maybe
yourself.
they just ate something bad.
Yeah. Like, ooh, somebody stinks. Like that, but it's also, like, you could be thinking about, like, you're self-conscious about yourself, and somebody gives you a look, and you're, like, automatically, like, I need to change. I need to do something better. I need to be like this. I need to be like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a big part.
Well, I think you're awesome, even if you're a little bit weird
Yeah, thank
sometimes.
you.
But we all are.
Yeah. Weird is awesome.
Yeah. And who wants to be like everybody else anyways?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Thank you, Maximus.
No problem.
Thank you all. Hopefully you got some good insights from 11-year-old over here who's got that. Don't make assumptions. Stay curious. Breathe. That was my takeaways from today.
Great point.
Again, another thing, parents, video games are not as bad as you think. Serious.
Final thoughts.
Take that
Serious.
away with you tonight.
So some like people my age, they just, like, don't know what to do. Like, they could be, like, having a hard day and they just, like, want to play video games, but they can't.
It's an escape, right?
It's an escape, and, like, maybe, like, y'all could give them, like, limits. Like, you did good today. No notes home. You get 30 minutes. You get 30 minutes on your electronic. You get 30 minutes on your Xbox, PlayStation, phone, iPad. And then when 30 minutes up, they're done. And they can't play video games anymore that day. And then tomorrow, they would get a shorter amount of time. Because there's 5 days in the week. So you'd start with 30, 25.
Why don't we take this negotiation offline?
I like where you're
15,
headed, though. I see
10,
like
and then
some type of business dealing
Yeah, I see
lawyer
this.
in the
You're wheeling and
making
dealing.
over here.
no. This is like for everybody. Not
But I
for
like
me.
it. I think what you're asking for is like, how do we make requests of each other? How do we come to agreements with each other that feel good for both parties?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you did there, Lauren.
Yeah. So, P.S. video games are fun. Well, thanks so much, kiddo.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Does that mean cut?
Yeah. Good job, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this first episode of season 2. And thank you so much to Maximus for being here, showing up, and being vulnerable. As we move into 2025, let's carry this lesson with us. It's okay to feel deeply. It's okay to take time to process and grow. We're so excited to bring you a season full of inspiring guests, thought-provoking discussions, and practical tools to help you thrive. Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and share your favorite moments from today's episode. Until next time, stay curious and keep embracing the beauty of your journey. We'll see you next week.